After playing College Football 27 in Chicago and reading through the entire gameplay deep dive, I think most people are completely missing the biggest change coming to this game. Everyone's talking about the new animations and the new equipment coming to the game. I think the real story is how much deeper EA is going into the scheme side of football. One sentence from the deep dive that stood out to me is, once you are in game, everything is built around speed. EA now allows us to create up to 20 different custom adjustments for offense and defense. These adjustments can be as simple as just streaking all your receivers, or as complex as building a Mabel coverage on one side of the field while blitzing the back side of the field and manning up the wide receiver one. This is going to create a huge skill gap in College Football 27. To build that huge skill gap, EA says it best. If you know football, you should be able to play football faster. And that's what these new custom adjustments are going to allow you to do. For years, we've known the adjustments we wanted to make. The problem was, we don't have enough time. You get up to the line of scrimmage, you know what play they're going to run, and you can't make the adjustments because the opponent either quick snaps you or you don't have enough time on the play clock to make another adjustment, and then you get a false start penalty. You're now able to make adjustments with just two simple button presses. For example, if your opponent likes to scramble with their quarterback, you're able to quickly switch to your QB scramble macro, make your D-line spread, contain, put your linebacker in a QB spy, and continue to stop the QB run even if they're running hurry up and getting up to the line and quick snapping the football. You're also able to stop those pesky meta flood concepts where when your opponent comes up to the line of scrimmage with a corner, a streak, and a flat route, you're able to quickly switch to your macro to stop the flood route that you know they're going to run the flood concept to, where you can put a flat and a purple and a deep third on that side of the field very quickly with just two button presses. The crazy part is we're just scratching the surface with what macros can really do to the game. This is an extreme game changer to how we play College Football 27 and Madden 27. Macros aren't the only pre-play adjustment that we've gotten added to this game. We also have one of the coolest things that I actually got to see from Chicago, which are formation shifts. Formation shifts are a way to confuse your opponent by coming out in a completely different formation from the actual formation that you want to run the play out of. You're able to select a play in trips while also flipping your formation to come out in bunch so that your opponent has his defense set up to stop bunch. But with a quick press of the X button or A button on Xbox, you're able to shift to the formation that you actually know the play is coming out of. This gives all my sim guys the true feel of college football with multiple pre-play formation changes, and give my competitive guys who play Road to the CFP and Cut the ability to confuse your opponent by coming out in a completely different formation than you actually want to run. But EA is really honing in on making defense smarter. This is where I got really excited when Scott was up on stage talking. We have brand new zone, man, and plaster adjustments that are added to this year's game. Now, me being more of a zone coverage guy, I can definitely tell you that zones feel so much better. There was a specific play when I was playing the game where my opponent was on the goal line and I called him out in cover 2 to try to stop the hard flat like we had to do in College Football 26, and I had my zones on ultra aggressive. A deep path came from the back of the end zone to run down and jump a streak that was headed straight to the end zone that would have been a touchdown in College Football 26. Coverage felt much stickier than it did in College Football 26, and DBs really attacked the football. And from this screenshot, we can really see why. You have multiple different zone adjustments: aggressive, balanced, conservative, ultra aggressive, ultra conservative, look for work, plaster, red zone awareness, and focus. The biggest three adjustments that I think will have the most impact in College Football 27 are ultra aggressive, red zone awareness, and conservative. In ultra aggressive, you're no longer going to have your defenders backpedaling to cover grass. They're going to attack the football and attack the wide receiver that is in the lower part of their zone. This is going to be perfect for stopping those out routes and corner routes that players like to throw underneath to on the sidelines that your zones are never able to get to. Conservative zones are going to make your defenders give more cushion and prioritize the deeper routes so that your purples aren't getting thrown over on the sidelines. But there's ways to attack both of these, so you as the coach will have to decide which routes you're willing to give up. The new red zone awareness is going to go back to what I said earlier in the video, or when I talked about my deep half picking off a streak that would have been a touchdown in college football 26. This has always been a problem in every Madden in college football in years prior. And EA made a point to make sure that that doesn't happen in college football 27. And speaking of things that's always been broken in other Madden and college footballs, the new Plaster Logic is something that is going to help players stop their opponent from getting outside of the pocket and breaking their zones late in the play for a crazy route bounce that gets caught 20 yards down the field after you played perfect defense and your D-line was unable to get the sack. You're able to turn off Plaster, put it on conservative or aggressive. You're also able to pick when Plaster actually activates. You're able to pick if it's whenever the quarterback gets outside the pocket, after a certain amount of time, or outside of the pocket for a certain amount of time. This is definitely one of my favorite additions to the game because there's no more bailouts going to happen after you've played perfect defense for 20 seconds throughout a play and your opponent just gets outside the pocket and there he goes with a busted play for a touchdown. Along with all the new defensive adjustments, EA has also added 16 new defensive formations. 3-3-5 3 high over, 4-2-5 3 high, 3-4 grizzly, nickel double mug looks, wide jack fronts, single mug dime packages, new tight and under fronts, and several new pressure structures built specifically to answer for the modern spread offenses. When I left Chicago, the thing that stuck with me wasn't one play or one animation. It was how much more control we as the players have. And after reading through the deep dive, I now understand why. EA wants football knowledge to matter, and they also want us to be able to play defense this year. That is a huge thing that we haven't seen in a long time. And if all of these things that we're seeing actually work in college football 27, this could end up being the deepest football game ever made. The more I read through the deep dive, the more I think most people are focusing on the wrong things. Everybody's talking about the animations and everybody's talking about the new equipment, but the real story is how much control EA is giving players before the snap. If you're somebody that loves football strategy, loves Dynasty, or loves Road to CFP, I think College Football 27 is going to give us more tools than we've ever had before. Let me know down below what features you're most excited for, and I'll see you guys in the next one.